Hi, I'm Eric Siegel with ericstrains.com, and welcome to episode 26 of my video train blog series. Okay, so this should be a pretty long blog episode. The first thing we're going to do in this episode is take a little field trip over to Legacy Station, which is the local train store that I go to quite often. I'm going over there today to check out their new store. They just moved to a new facility that's a few miles down the road from their old store. It's a much larger, nicer facility, and it's in a better part of town. And that's really nice to see, especially in this economy. It's nice to see a business expanding and moving into a nicer facility. So we should be there in about 10 or 15 minutes, and once we get there, we will check out the new store. Okay, so here's the new location. We're at the corner of Highway 29 and Beaver Ruin Road in the Kroger Shopping Center. And the new store is over there. I don't know if you can see the sign. But there it is. It's back there in the breezeway, so let's go take a look. So here's the new sign, and there's Brian and his father-in-law installing the crossbuck on the new lighted signal there. Looks pretty good. The store itself is back here through this breezeway right over there. Okay, here's the new location. You can see they're installing a signal there. So let's go ahead and go inside. Okay, so here's the new Legacy Station. It's huge, and as you can see, they're still unpacking some boxes and getting settled in. Here's Jim over by the register. There's Brian. The new store is more than twice as large as the old store. It's a little over 10,000 square feet. It's gigantic. The test track is all set up over here. And then we've got those little tunnel portals there with some shelves and so forth, and then all this space over here. And they've got that nice mural on the back wall that was painted by a local artist. So it's a really nice change over the old place. Much nicer. Looks like a real hobby shop. And then back there, that door goes into what will eventually be a layout room where they'll have a train layout for the store. So we'll go through that door here, and there's this big room where they're going to have a layout at some point. Pretty nice sized room. And then back beyond that is the warehouse area where they've got all the storage and the repair facilities and so forth. So it is a huge place. This place used to be owned by a company that made curtains for theaters. So it's a huge place, and it's really nice to see Legacy Station moving into such a big facility. Much, much better than the cramped quarters of the old store. And if we keep moving back through the warehouse area, you can see just how big this place is. And there's the new repair facility.
And there's some parts on the wall there.
Yeah, they got all the parts hung on the wall and everything. So big, big upgrade from the old place. Really nice. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little sneak preview of Legacy Station's new location. It's a great location, great shop. As you can see, they're still getting stuff unpacked and getting stuff situated, but hopefully in the next few months they should get everything set up and looking good. So now we're going to go back to my house and take a look at some more stuff. Okay, we're back at my house. The first thing I want to talk about is progress on the layout. I've been doing a lot of work on the layout lately, and I've got a lot more work planned for the next couple months, because I'm trying to get as much done as possible before the big open house that's part of this year's Piedmont Pilgrimage. And if you haven't heard yet, my open house is on Saturday, November 10th from 1 to 5 p.m. So if you're going to be in the Atlanta area on that weekend, feel free to stop by. It is open to the public. You can get more information, including directions, at www.piedmontpilgrimage.com. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of work on the layout, so let's take a look at what I've been doing. I'm going to start things off on the east side of the main room here. Up on the top level, I've been doing a lot of work getting the track ballasted. It's all the way around there and part way down the back spine now. And I'm hoping to get it all the way to the other side of the room in the next couple weeks. And then back there behind the curve, I'm going to start doing some hard shell scenery there in the next few days. And just to try to get the upper level as finished as possible before the open house. And then down here, I've done all this scenery work. This is all new. I've still got to add trees and some more scenery and so forth, but it's looking pretty good so far. Here on the north corner of the main room, which is opposite the corner that we were just at, I haven't done a whole lot of work, but I wanted to talk about this section right here. There's eventually going to be a big 20-foot trestle that goes from here all the way to the other side of the room, and I've talked about it before, but the first section of that trestle, which is going to go from right here and it's going to curve around and then end right about here, right before this hole in the table. It's about 8 feet long, and I've started talking with Jim Ballman over at Stainless Unlimited, and we're starting to work in earnest to get that first section built. So I'm starting to send him drawings and measurements and so forth. And so I'm hoping to have that first section of the trestle, that first 8-foot section, maybe not in time for the open house, but maybe December, January would be nice. It takes him a while to build it. And of course, the longest part about getting these trestles built is the preparation, sending him all the measurements and making sure that all the specs are right before he actually starts building it. But I'm really excited. Once that first section is in place, it'll look a whole lot different over here. And then of course, over the next year or so, we'll get the other 2 sections in place so that eventually the trains will be able to go all the way around the top loop. It should be pretty fun once it's in place. Back here in the Colorado room, right now I'm using the Colorado room as a makeshift workbench, so there's a whole lot of mess in here, but what I've started doing right now is building tunnel sections for the Colorado room. So there's going to be a tunnel that goes from about right here all the way around, and then it'll end about right here. And I've started building those tunnel sections, and my goal is to have at least part of the tunnel erected by the time the open house comes around. Also in the Colorado room, right about where this tunnel is going to end, I want to start doing some scenery here and blending it up into the backdrop. I've got this stone wall here, and I'm planning on extending it over here a bit and then blending it into the rock scenery and some hillside scenery until it gets over to where the tunnel starts. And then finally, here in the Carolina room, this wall on the other side does not have a backdrop, as you can see. This is the only part of the layout that does not have a backdrop yet. So I'm planning on ordering this last backdrop from Backdrop Warehouse in a couple weeks, and hopefully I'll be able to get it installed by the time the open house rolls around. So as you can see, I've got quite a bit of work left to do before the open house, and I've only got about 6 weeks to do it, so I've definitely got my work cut out for me, but hopefully I'll be able to get it all done and have a good open house this year. Up next, I've got a couple interesting things that I want to show you. The first item that I want to show you is a new product that I've recently bought that I think you might find interesting. And then the second thing that I want to show you is an interesting little feature that I just discovered about modern Lionel steam engines. So let's go ahead and take a look at both of those things now. Here's the first item that I want to show you. This is not a new item on the market, but it's a new item for me. You know, after you've been in the hobby for a while, you end up with a whole bunch of paint bottles in your collection because you're always using paint for various projects around the layout. And the problem is that after a while, if you don't use the paint settles to the bottom and becomes difficult to use. And if you want to have any hope of using it, you have to give it a good shake. And I've gotten tired over the years of always having to shake my paints so much just to keep them good and usable. And so I bought this, which is a hobby paint shaker. I bought it from a company called Robart at their website, which is www.robart.com. And there are 2 versions. There's an AC version, which you just plug into your wall, and then there's a battery-powered version. The AC version, like this one, is about $48, and the battery-powered one is about $38. And what you do is you get these straps. The straps are sold separately, and you put your paint bottle on there, and you secure it with the strap like that, and then press the button, and it shakes the bottle. Pretty cool. It does about 5,000 shakes per minute, which is way more than you can do with your hand. And it frees you up to do something else while the paint is shaking. So you can put it on to shake and go do something else and come back a couple minutes later and turn it off, and your paint is all good and shaken up. Just like that. It's good to go. So it's a pretty cool device, and I thought I'd share it with you. The second thing that I want to show you is even cooler than the paint shaker, and it's something that I just found out about a week ago. Some of you may already know about this, but this is something I just found by accident, and it has to do with the variable ash pan glow effect that's available on many Lionel Legacy steam engines made today. I've got the Lionel EM1 steam engine right here to show you this, but it's not restricted to the EM1. You can see this effect on any Lionel steam engine that has the variable ash pan glow effect. Now, to better understand this feature that I found on the ash pan glow effect, let me go ahead and explain what the ash pan glow effect is all about. I'm going to go ahead and turn the engine on. And because we don't need sound in this demonstration, I'm going to turn the sound down. Okay, so here's the ash pan, and when I start the engine moving, watch what happens. You get a red glow down there. That's the ash pan glow effect, and we all know about that. Now, the variable ash pan glow effect, the way that works is that when you start the engine moving, you get the base glow that you just saw, and then as the engine picks up speed and gets faster and faster, that glow becomes more intense. In other words, that red light becomes brighter and brighter. Now, up until about a week ago, I was always under the impression that the additional red glow on the ash pan that comes with increased speed was the result of some sort of fancy sensor on the motor that would detect the speed of the engine and then increase the glow of that red light accordingly. But it actually doesn't work that way. It's much simpler than that. In fact, the additional red glow doesn't even require track power. Let me show you how I found out about it. Okay, the way I found out about this was one day I was working on my layout and I needed to move this engine so that I could do some work. And so with the power to the track turned off, I simply rolled the engine back by hand. And when I did that, lo and behold, I saw a red glow down here on the ash pan, even though there was no power on the track. So I'll do it right now. I'm going to roll the engine back and keep your eyes on this ash pan area and you will see a red glow. And keep in mind that there is no power on the track right now. You see it? Let me do it again. It may be hard to see on the video. See it down there? Well, what's going on is that the additional red glow is not coming from track power. It's coming from some sort of a friction crank generator mechanism on the engine. It's sort of like those crank flashlights that you can buy where you turn the crank and it powers the flashlight for a few seconds. Or, you know, on a bicycle you can get a light where you hook a generator onto the wheel and then as you pedal the bicycle it powers the light. Well, this light works in a similar fashion, so it's not, the additional glow on that light is not powered from track. The base glow comes from track power, but the additional glow that comes with speed comes from a generator in there that's generating the extra glow from the spinning of the wheels. And I thought that was pretty cool. It's pretty neat to see something, you know, with all this 21st century technology that goes into these engines, to see something kind of old school like that powering that extra glow in the ash pan. I thought that was really neat and I thought I'd share it with you. Now, as I said, this feature is not limited to the EM1. You should be able to replicate this on any modern Lionel engine that has the variable ash pan glow effect. I just used the EM1 for a demonstration. And, you know, I know that some of you probably already know about this, but I didn't. You know, I've run these engines hundreds of times and I've never noticed that because really, how often do you push your engine down the track without power? It's not something that we do very often, but just for whatever reason, on that day when I pushed it down the track, I happened to be looking down here, and I was really surprised to see a red glow coming from the ash pan, even though there was no power on the track. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about today is upcoming videos. I've got a whole bunch of videos in production right now, and a whole bunch of those videos that are going to be coming out in the next couple months. There are 4 videos that I want to tell you about right now. The first one is part 2 of the Atlas track and signal tutorial. That is almost done. I've been working on it for what seems like forever. It's about 45 minutes long. It's a very lengthy tutorial and it's taken quite a while to put it together. It should be up on YouTube hopefully in the next week or 2, and once it's up there I hope you guys enjoy it. Then after that, I've got 2 product reviews that I'm working on. One of them is for the Lionel Vision Line Centipede that's back here. I did a preview of the Centipede in my last blog video, but I'm working on a full review of that Centipede right now. And then after that, I've got a review for the Lionel 210-4 Pennsylvania, Texas steam engine. That should be out pretty soon as well. And then in October, I'm going to be doing a full layout update video that will show you the entire layout all in one video. So those of you guys who have been waiting for a big layout update video, that's going to be it, and that should be out in October. My goal is to put that out right before the open house that's in November, so keep an eye out for that as well. And then after that, I've got a whole slew of product reviews that I'm working on, all sorts of stuff, diesels and steam engines and all sorts of stuff. I'm trying to get those done as quickly as possible, so just be patient. Those should all be out sometime in the next few months, so just keep an eye out for them, and hopefully you'll enjoy them when they come out. Okay, so that about wraps it up for this episode. I'm Eric Siegel, and I'll see you next time.